Excuse me, Donna Kaid. I don't want to, I do want to talk about this guy in some sense. I've read many a manifesto of the nutcase. And I want to tell you at the outset, I'm going to characterize this stuff without having read it, having read a few paragraphs here and there after like 45 minutes of looking into it. It's an interesting story. For those that don't know, this guy committed suicide on the Harvard campus, wasn't a student, never had been, and left like a 2,000-page suicide note. And the thing is, I mean, if I had all the time in the world, I'd love to read things like this. I'm interested in crazy people and stuff. And as I say, I've read some of this kind of stuff before. I've never found it logically coherent. Why? I mean, there's the internet, and this guy dies, and there's 1,900 pages of writing that he's never put on the internet. He's not shared or gotten feedback. No wonder he wants to die. You know, that's the thing with a lot of this stuff. It's like, if you're going to be bottled up like that, you are the world. That's the subjectivist thing. And so the world looks like you are, bottled up and with no freedom. So you're going to publish your stuff after you're dead. And I just don't have time to read what I'm quite certain is the whining and griping of a suicidal pseudo-philosopher. Somebody with a philosophical inclination, but without discipline. You know, just the screeds against this and that, and then I'm going to kill myself. Now, on the other hand, like I said, I think it's a somewhat interesting subject, and, you know, by just characterizing the guy this way, you know, I haven't even read the stuff. Hopefully you can read it and go, no, here's why it's not just one of those. Here's a paragraph, and see, I will have saved my time of reading this whining and griping from this guy, and maybe you can pull a few gems out. I mean, obviously it brings up a lot of interesting subjects, including, you know, words said on the deathbed, including antinatalism that a lot of us are talking about and is surprisingly popular, if you ask me. You know, there's a lot of other issues. And in a way, leaving a manifesto and killing yourself does have a certain sort of, you don't care what people think. You're not waiting around for that. On the other hand, what's the matter with caring what people think? When you have an idea, you're putting it in an English language you didn't invent, you share it with other people, why not share it? Now, I believe in using the English language or any language as a thinking tool. You can use it for yourself, but still, you know, at this point where you're going to kill yourself because of these issues, why not just put them out there? Some of the excerpts I read are just, I don't know, maybe there's some historical stuff, I don't know, I couldn't check, I'm not familiar with. But the things I'm familiar with, I mean, you know, and he's just rails against the liberal society and stuff, and blah, blah, blah. So what do you find interesting? Because to me, you know, it's like crazed scientific theories where the scientific establishment is a conspiracy to keep my theory down. What is your theory? Well, I can't say type thing. It's like you know, his theory of life, what possible meaning could it be? Could it have? You know, there's probably people that shouldn't read that manifesto if it's as humorous as people say, because if they're susceptible to that thinking, maybe it'll click it for them and they'll commit suicide, or maybe they should read it. You know, I just don't really know, and I'm not into the guy kills himself and that's a reason to read. 2,000 pages is a long book. You have to be a genius, and I have to think so ahead of time before I can read a 2,000-page book by someone. That's a lot of reading devoted to someone. I just can't. What possible, you know, I've seen the titles and some of the content. What possible illumination do you expect to get from this?